Hey everybody, I'm going to make a video on complex numbers. And first I'm going to go over some information you need to keep in mind, and then I'm going to do some practice problems for you. So complex numbers are numbers that involve I. And what is I? The definition of I is the square root of -1. So the square root of -1 is equal to I. And then you need to know that I squared is equal to -1. Okay. Now, you can add and subtract complex numbers, and you can also multiply them. And this is what you call closed under the rules of algebra. So when we say complex numbers are closed, that means that you can add, subtract, multiply, divide them, and all the rules of algebra apply. These are basically just like numbers. For example, if you added I plus I together, you'd get 2I, and that's the same way you can think of x plus x as 2x. So if you have 3 i's and you take away 1, you have 2 i's left. If you have 7 i's and you take away 2i, you get 5i. Okay, and then down here I want to multiply some for you. So right here with the parentheses, I'm multiplying, and 3i times 2i is going to be 3 times 2 is 6, and then I times I is I squared. Okay, and when you get to here, you need to go back to this rule that I squared is equal to -1. So I really have 6 times -1, and then from that, it's going to be -6. So my final answer is -6. Okay, the next problem I'm going to do is 4 times, and it's times because I have the parentheses, 2 plus 2i. So 2 plus 2i is my complex number. 4 is my other number, and I can multiply these. And I'm going to use the distributive property. So 4 times 2 is 8. And then 4 times 2i is going to be 8i. And this is your answer. You cannot combine 8 and 8i. These are not like terms. Okay, so let's see some of these in progress. All right, this is from skill 4 of Brain Genie. It says solve the expression 4x squared minus 18 equals -98. And it looks like I'm gonna get a imaginary number in my answer somewhere. And I can think about solving this two ways. Because this is a quadratic, I can either use the quadratic formula or I can solve by square root. So I am gonna actually do the square root. And the reason is I have an x squared term, and then both of these are constants. So because I just have x squared, I can get the x squared by itself and then solve with the square root. If I had an x also, I'd have to use the quadratic formula. So let's add 18 across to both sides. And maybe I'll move it over here. 4x squared equals -98 plus 18. Okay, so I added 18 to both sides. I'm going to get -80. So I've got 4x squared equals -80. Divide by 4. X squared is equal to -20. Okay. And then since x squared is by itself, I'll square root. And that cancels off this. X is equal to the square root of any numbers plus or minus. And then it's -20, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this out as an I. And then this can be simplified. So it has this answer, well, this it doesn't have an I, so this isn't right. It does have this, but square root of 20 can be simplified. So this is 4 and 5. And then this becomes 2I root 5 plus minus. And these are your two answers right here. This is a conjugate pair. So my answer has to be plus or minus 2I root 5.